Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to math. So today we are continuing our lesson on understanding fractions. So why don't we go ahead and get started with today's target. I can compose and decompose fractions. Now, boys and girls, it's really important to understand what compose and decompose is. I know that we've mentioned this before in the past, but let's just go over a quick review. So decompose, I'm going to start with that one first. Decompose is when we are breaking apart a simple mathematical equation and spreading it out, okay? Compose is when mathematical problems are kind of put together. So as we learn about fractions for today, you'll understand further of what those two words mean. So why don't we go ahead and get started. Let's start with this. A unit fraction is a fraction that describes one part of a whole. Okay, so as you can see, we have a picture of a rectangle. Now, boys and girls, how many parts is this rectangle broken up into? Right, it's broken up into 4 pieces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that make up this one whole of a rectangle. Now, the word unit fraction, okay, basically describes each part of a whole. So let's look at the sentence right here. Each part is 1/4 of the whole. So for this whole picture, each part is called a unit fraction. And the unit fraction for this particular picture is called 1/4. So the unit fraction for this area is called 1/4. This unit fraction is 1/4. This unit fraction is 1/4. And this unit fraction is 1/4. Okay? So, going over this again. Each part is 1/4 of the whole. So 1/4 is a unit fraction. Okay? So this sentence is really important right here. This sentence right here describes what just happened in this picture. As we continue going along, you'll begin to slowly understand how everything comes together. So why don't we go overhead in here? So we have the same whole, but this time we have parts that are shaded. So why don't we go ahead and read this sentence right here. The fraction 3/4, because 3 parts are shaded. That's why the 3 is in the numerator. So remember, boys and girls, yesterday we went over that the top number of a fraction is the numerator and the bottom part is called the denominator. And remember, the denominator is the total amount the pieces are cut into. And then the top number is what is shaded. So the fraction 3/4 is made up of 3 of the 1/4 parts. So looking back on this problem up here, each part is a unit fraction of 1/4 because that's how many it's cut into, 4. So this is still 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. So this sentence right here, the fraction 3/4, 1, 2, 3, is made up of 3 1/4 parts because this is a 1/4, this is a 1/4, and this is a 1/4. 3 times because 3 of them are shaded. So really important that we're looking at this because this problem right here equals this picture. So 3/4 equals 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. 1/4 is added 3 times to equal 3/4. Now going back to understanding compose and decompose. So decompose is breaking a problem apart. That's this portion right here. So 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 is the decomposed part of this problem, and 3/4 is the composed problem, bringing it all together. Okay, boys and girls? So it's really important for you to understand that 3/4 is the exact same as adding 1/4 3 times. They mean the exact same thing. Because it's really important for you to understand the rule that when you are adding fractions, the denominator does not change, okay? Denominator does not change when adding. Really important for you to understand, boys and girls, okay? So now as we continue on with our lesson, we're going to be working on, so you're going to be watching me working on problems 1 through 6. Then you need to make sure that you have this worksheet printed out because you are going to follow along with me on questions 7 through 11, okay? So really important that you are watching 1 through 6 first. Then you're going to do it with me for 7 through 11. Here we go. So write each fraction as a sum of unit fractions. So we know a unit fraction is a fraction that describes one part of the whole, okay? So for us to understand how to add all these, we need to first find out what denominator we are working with. So we have 5 in the denominator. So 5, that's our denominator. That's all we're working with, okay? And now at the top, it says 4. So what is a unit fraction of a whole that is broken up into 5 pieces? 1/5. 1/5 is a unit fraction of 5. So we have 4 over 5, which means we need to add 1/5 4 times. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 equals 4/5. They are exactly the same. One is just broken up into more pieces. The other one is just put together. Okay, we're going to continue on. Number 2. So looking at our denominator so that we know what it's going to be for the decomposed part of our problem. So 8. We are working with the denominator of 8. And the unit fraction of 8 would be what? 1/8. Very good. And how many times is 1/8 going to be added? 3 times. So we're going to add 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. And that is all we are doing, boys and girls. So that is all that we are doing. We are basically showing you that adding 1/8 parts will equal 3/8. Because remember, denominator does not change. The denominator tells us how many parts the picture is broken into. That's not going to change. So that is why 8 doesn't change. But the numerator does, because we're coloring in or cutting out those specific pieces. Now down here, doing the opposite. Now we're just adding all of them. So 1/3 plus 1/3 equals what, boys and girls? Only adding the top, because the denominator stays the same, 2/3. That's it. Number 4, adding 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5. Denominator stays the same. How many is at top? 3. Very good. Now 5. The denominator stays the same. How many are up here? 1, 2, 3. 3/4. Good. Now 6. Denominator stays the same. How many is 1/8 added? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/8. Decomposed part, composed part. Okay? Really important that you boys and girls understand this, okay? Now, we are transitioning to the part where you are going to be following along with me and filling out these parts, okay? Because this one you were just watching me. Now we are doing together. Write each fraction as a sum of unit fractions, okay? Again, just like what you saw with watching me, now you're going to be doing it with me this time. So 7. We have 4/6. Look at our denominator. What is our denominator? What number is that? 6. Very good. So we know we're going to be working with 6, and we need to find the unit fraction. Remember, the unit fraction, that describes one part of the whole. So what would one part of a whole that's cut up into 6 pieces, what would that be? 1/6. Very good. How many times do you think we're going to add 1/6 to get this number? 4 times. So 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 1/6. That adds up to 4/6. Same exact thing. Decomposed, composed. Okay, let's go to 8. Again, looking at the denominator. We know we're going to be working with 7 pieces of a whole. A unit fraction is what of the 7? 1. And again, how many times are we going to add 1/7 to get this number? 4. Yes, so we're going to add 1/7 plus 1/7 plus 1/7 plus 1/7. Equals the same thing, written in 2 different ways. All right. Again, denominator is 8 pieces. What's the unit fraction of a whole that's cut up into 8 pieces? 1/8. Very good. How many times are we going to add 1/8 to get this number? 6. 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1/8. Decomposed, composed. 2 different ways to write it, same exact thing. Now, 8 and 9, we are going over just adding them up. And remember, when we are adding fractions, the denominator stays the same. It does not change. You do not add up the denominators. Leave them alone. So, we know that our denominator is going to be 6. How many times is 1/6 added? 3 times. This is pronounced 3/6. Same thing over here. Denominator does not get added up. It just stays the same. How many times is 1/8 added? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We would say this as 5/8. 2 different ways to write the same number. Okay? All right. Got 2 more problems, and then you're going to go off on your own. All right. Number 10. There are 4 books on a shelf. There's our visual. In the model, the shaded books, okay, clue words, shaded books represent nonfiction books. So shaded is nonfiction books. Okay. Which expression represents the fraction of the books on the shelf that are nonfiction? So we need to find a fraction that tells us the shaded part. But first, we need to find out how many there are total. So we need to find out our denominator. So how many books are there total, including the other book? 4. There are 4 books total. How many of the books are shaded? Remember, the shaded books are the nonfiction, and that's what we're trying to find out. So how many are shaded? 3. So this is our composed fraction, which everything is brought together, but it looks like with the answer choices that were given, with A, B, C, and D, they are the decomposed part. So we need to find out how this is written when it's broken apart. Okay, so let's go ahead and check our answers here. So we have 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. 1/4 is added 1, 2, 3, 4 times. That would be 4/4. That does not match what we found out over here, so A would be a no. B, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. 1, 2, 3, 3/4. That could be our answer, but let's double check. Let's look here. C, 1/3. No. The denominator tells us the entire total. Okay, so that is why C is incorrect, because it's saying that there are only 3 books, which that is not true. There are 3 books that are shaded. But remember, the denominator tells us everything, even if they're shaded or not. So that's why C would not work. Look at D. There's a 1 on the bottom. That would not make any sense. So that does not make sense. So B is our correct answer for 10. Moving on to 11. Notice, boys and girls, that I am still using cubes to help me understand that I need to find certain numbers and certain words to help me understand how to solve these problems, okay? Boys and girls, you need to make sure that you continue using the strategy of cubes, circling the key numbers, underlining the questions, boxing clue words, then solving, okay? It's really important. Here we go. A farmer gave 1/4 of a bale of hay to a horse each day on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, okay? Which equation can be used to find the fraction of bales of hay the farmer gave the horse on these 3 days? Just because 3 days is written in word form does not mean it doesn't count as a number. It does, okay? Always look for that, boys and girls, all right? So we have 1/4, and we have 3 days. All right, so those are the numbers that we are working with. Now, let's go over the first question, or the first part of our question. A farmer gave 1/4 of a bale of hay to a horse each day on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So basically, we need to add those up. So we have 1/4 for Monday, 1/4 for Tuesday, 1/4 for Wednesday. If we were to add all these up, what would this fraction give us? Denominator stays the same. 3/4. That is correct. So we need to make sure this problem is over here. So let's go ahead and check. A, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4, 3/4. Okay, that works. B, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/12. What? No, our rule. Denominator needs to stay the same. B does not make sense. C, 1/7. Where did 7 come from? 7 makes no sense, so that's why cross it out. D, 1/7. Again, where is the 7 coming from? Do you see a 7 in this problem at all? No, so that would make no sense. So 11A is correct because it matches what we already solved based on the information that was given us. Okay, boys and girls, now this is what we're going to be doing. For number 12, this part is on Schoology, and you are going to be completing this with your classmates online. Then after that, you're going to be working on some independent work. All right, boys and girls, again, a friendly reminder, if you are still struggling with the concept of fractions, remember to make sure that you meet with Mrs. Strasbaugh at 9 a.m. She is available at that time every single day, okay? Or you can rewatch this video again to see how we did all the steps. All right, boys and girls, it has been a pleasure to teach you today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!